YouTube, I know it's been a month and still nothing, so I'm making up for lost time and getting you a 2-for-1 video special. This is part 2 of my kit modification episode. Since the kit is already modified, all that's left to do is just paint, paint, and more paint. So let's get a crackin'. All my parts have been primed with white, but I always like to add a white base to it so that I can cover even the smallest gray areas. I always start with the skin tone on every figure I paint, unless it has more white than any other color, like how I did it with Sailor Cosmos. I usually do 2 layers of paint so I can blend in and cover all the areas evenly. The initial skin tone and shades have been added. The next part is to redefine shadows with some pastel shadings. I had already made a tutorial on how to shade with pastels, so before you ask, just click on the video response below and it will take you directly to that tutorial. Shading is done, now it's time for masking. When shading white, there's always 3 options: purple, gray, and blue. I decided to go with blue because her suit has blue on it, so it should match evenly. Painting the only parts of her suit that actually look like metal armor. These parts have a blue strip on them, so I just used transparent blue to achieve a metallic blue look. Her sword is kinda special. It has like a clear center and some fluorescent stripes going up and down. So what I did is paint a pink base on the sword and then add a fluorescent pink to it. I'll be making those little stripes so I can paint the rest with a black metallic color. I continue with her hair color. My in-game character had cool black and red highlights on her hair, so I'm going to imitate that effect. I'm going to take an orange base first, then cover some strands with black, and lastly, I'm just going to finish with red on the areas where I originally painted the orange color. Since her suit isn't really an armor, I'm just going to add different textures to the colors. So these black areas will be covered with a pearl black later to give it more life. Plus I like pearl colors, so it's a win-win situation. And lastly, I'll go ahead and paint the black patterns on her suit. This is what I meant when I said to make modifications to your kit wisely. You'll be able to paint it easily and won't have any trouble while doing it. Now it's time to remove masking and start with the fun part, adding real strings to her suit. I purchased these strings over at Michael's, and it's one of those things you can find in the beads and jewelry section. Not everything needs to be sculpted, so don't be afraid to experiment with real items on your kit. It gives it a different view to your figure at the end because details like this give an extra sparkle to it. Her suit does have crystals on her sleeve, so I decided to make my clear resin and add a little magic to it so it can glow. Okay, now, I actually used a glow-in-the-dark powder and mixed it into the resin. I'll tell you how to do it in a bit. Now it's time to continue with the tombstone. I've already showed you how to paint stone in my Nakururu video, but I'm going to do it one last time just for fun. The base will always be black. You take a gray color and add it to the areas around it and in the middle. Then just finish off with white using the dry brush effect. That is what will give the stone effect to your piece. And before anybody asks, I'm pretty sure you're all wondering what's up with the writing on the tombstone. So once upon a time, there was an online game host called OGT Planet. These guys hosted the game from which my character belongs to. They were dicks most of the times and a lot of times screwed up without even recognizing it, especially when banning innocent players. My original account was banned for no reason, losing my first blader at a high level. I was really pissed at them, and I wasn't even able to contact their stupid help desk to see what happened because they actually banned my IP. A few years later, they lost the hosting service for Cabal, and I was happy to be able to play again. So this, you might say, is my way of getting poetic justice. Alright, enough with the sad stories. I'll be adding some more string to her upper body just as I did with her sleeves. All said and done, looks pretty cool in my opinion. Alright, now let's do some more clear resin stuff. I've been using Cast & Craft's clear resin and it works pretty good for the application I use it for. And this is the glow-in-the-dark powder I mixed on the other pieces I showed earlier, but in a different color. I purchased these powders from E2046, and they go by the name of Luminous Powder. I originally purchased them because they claim you could use it with your airbrush, but it was a total fail. These grains did not dissolve, and it screwed up my airbrush. I did a full review on these powders on my website. The link is below on the description area if you're interested in reading about the product. Anyways, just mix equal parts, as always, and add a bit of the powder just to mix it all together. The last step is to just add little by little until you cover the area you want the effect on. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed part 2 of this tutorial. Don't forget to watch part 3, which is now available in the link below or on the screen. See you in the next video to finish this off.